Hello and welcome to Capricorn Makes. I'm Stacy and today I'm going to be starting the lace challenge that was put out by Andrea Wilson at Dolls Ahoy. And to spare you all of the crazy crinkling, I have emptied everything out of the plastic bags, everything that has been stored in, and it's just in this big crazy mess. Now, my plan is not to put everything on cards like this. My plan is simply to sort everything out into what what needs to be together. So like elastics and will go together, and bias tape will go together, and ribbons will go together, that sort of thing. And I figured I would get it all out and show you what kind of state it was in before I got fairly far into it. I may not sit here and talk through the whole sorting process because I feel like I don't really know how well you'll be able to see anything, but I thought it would be fun to sort of show off what I have. This I have a number of odds and ends. This is actually stretchy, but not very. It's another one of those odd, non-stretchy things that's supposed to be stretchy that I seem to have so much of. I have some strange items, partially because I have received 2 lots of estate sale things. It does mean you end up with some very strange stuff that's in some very odd conditions. And quite a number of things that I don't really know what to do with. So my goal here is not really to standardize things. I'm not going to put things on cards. I'm not going to rewind by size or color or anything like that. I'm just trying to, you know, make it so that if I'm like, oh, where is that one little tiny piece of green trim that I want for something, I'll be able to just grab the bag that it's in and go. I actually don't really like the lace cards and things like that. Yes, they look gorgeous, but when I am wanting to work on a pattern, I want to be able to go, oh, look at this. I actually like the chaos when I am trying to figure out if something is going to work or not. And it may not occur to me that, like, for example, I really, really like this and this together, which, like, I had originally gotten this small lacing to replace the pale ribbon that is inside of this for a project that I may or may not still use it for. But I really like it with this vintage ribbon that I had just recently picked up. They look much closer in real life than they do on camera because this one is really quite shiny and this one doesn't have nearly as much shine to it. But, and again, so like the feathers here, I don't know what I would do with these, but if I was putting a costume together, I would be quite happy with this color palette. This will actually go in my like mask and wig making box. So some of the things in here are, oh my gosh, look at this. It's a cowboy. It's a cowboy silhouette. I have no idea. I'm gonna keep it because it's so ridiculous, but I'm gonna put it in my ephemera box of things that just make me a little bit happy. So I have little tiny pieces like this, but this is plenty for doll clothes of some sort. I don't know. So that'll go in with that. Again, like another teeny tiny little piece of something. I have no idea what this would have been from originally. It would be really nice to have this all sorted out. I'm not even sure what this is. It's I mean, it's clearly age spotted here, but it's like stiff canvas. I would say it's oh, what's the stuff that they use in crinolines, things like that. They're really stiff. It's not boning because it's like papery, but I like it feels like it should be something that's used in lampshades. I don't know. I can't remember. I have quite a bit of pieces of elastic here that are a little bit mystifying. Like, I'm not sure. They're so stiff. I'm not sure what they would have been used for. They're very thick and very stiff. Like this one is quite wide, but it's also really, really, really sturdy. So it would be incredibly uncomfortable to wear as a waistband. So I'm not really sure what else it might have been used for. I find with a lot of this old stuff that I've gotten from the estate sale, it's been sitting for so long that there are spots and things all over it. It doesn't smell bad, and I would wash it if, well, I don't know if I would wash the bias tape, but I actually kind of like that aging. Because it's difficult to recreate those things authentically when you actually want to. It's fun. It's really interesting to see what you kind of end up with sometimes. Yeah, I have really odd things from my own original collection that I bought. This is like a floral. They're not sequins. They're I don't know. They're little flowers that are on this this netting back, and I actually didn't use them all together like this in a trim. I have cut them apart for various different things over the years, and one of my favorite things that I've done with them is take them off and put them on bobby pins and use them as hair accessories. They have been sewn individually or in clumps on other things. I think I've used some in some mask making, but this was some of the trim for my first wedding dress. Jewel knitting beads. These are for like when you knit, you hold this in with your yarn and then the beads sort of show up. I'm on the fence about knitting with beads, because one of the things that can happen with them if they're not put in there just right is that they all pop to the back side of the work, depending on what sort of stitch you have, what sort of stitch you're using. And so I'm not, I think I picked these up off of like a free table somewhere because I collect shiny things. But it is actually handy that these are all pre-strung on here. I'm not sure what I will use them for, but I probably will use them for something. Oh, this is one of my favorite things that I've picked up recently. It is actually just a piece of lace, like larger lace, but I plan on cutting it apart and using all of the separate little iridescent pieces into one larger project, which is why it is going in with the laces rather than in with fabric scraps. I seem to have rather more elastic than I thought I did, which is handy, I guess. I'm not sure any of it is actually in a size that I will use, but that's fine. Oh man, this stuff is just such a tangled knot of crazy. I will go through and wind all of these things into, I don't know what I was thinking when I bought this. I'm sure it was on sale. It's really fuzzy and crazy, and I figured I'll probably end up using it at some point for some kind of costuming, but yeah, I don't know. The poor decisions you make when something is on sale and you're not thinking. This is another one of the things I got in the estate sale. It is actually like a beaded trim. Let's see if I can get this all out flat. But it has beads and it curls really badly, though I suspect it won't once it is stitched down to something. It does seem to be intact, and there does seem to be a center point for it. It has been clipped here, though not on this side, so I don't know like if this was handmade or if this was part of some commercial thing that the person saved. I don't know. It's kind of neat. I'm going to put it in with the odds and ends. This is some a ribbon that was actually used on my wedding dress, my first wedding dress. It was originally just these white flowers, or ivory flowers on ribbon with the gold in it, and I went in and I hand painted all of these flowers on it to match the dress. I will show that dress off at some point. It's really gorgeous. The dress is kind of Art Deco-y, and oh, this is actually some of the fabric here, so you can see this would have been again, these are just scraps, but this would have been the bottom hem of the dress, and so the flowers carry all the way up, and it has sparkles and things like that, and then I had like multiple layers of chiffon underneath it to sort of give it this floaty look, and it was really beautiful and fun. So this was some of the layers underneath it that I had. Some of this clearly is just scraps that need to go back in the scrap bins. But I ended up, so when I originally painted it, I had painted the leaves green, but it looked really strange with where I was putting this ribbon because this was around the neckline of the dress. And so I only painted a little bit of the green and then pretty quickly went, that's not right. And then this looked much, much better with the rest of the dress. You know, I had no idea what this was until I watched Andrea's video on her lace thing, because I was like, man, it's like weird. It's polyester, polycotton, it's sort of lightweight. It's clearly been taken off of something. It's like double fold bias tape, except it's not on the bias, and it kind of looks like some of the things that I've seen for like knit stabilization, but it clearly isn't that, like by feel and just the way it is not, it's not like that. And I'm pretty sure this was actually taken, she was talking about how you can take lace like this isn't a lace, but you know what I mean, and pull this off of here, and what's left over, I believe, is what this is. Like I think whoever I got this from had done that on a large project, and so I have just tons and tons and tons of this and that I figured would come in handy at some point. I actually think I could use it as the knit stabilization that I was talking about, but I don't see any need to get rid of it, and I do think it would be quite easy to use if I needed. There's quite a quantity of it here, so I'm happy to hang on to it for that purpose. More elastic. Actually, I may use these in my pajama pants that I'm making. It looks like there's plenty of it there. Oh, zippers. Zippers should not be in here. I have a separate place for zippers. Yeah. It's actually quite a nice zipper. So this is a tiny elastic, and I'm not sure if I should put this in with my beading stuff. Nah, I'll leave it here. I mean, I might use it for doll things. Though this I will probably move. This is waxed thread. I think it's linen thread. It might be, yeah, I think it's waxed linen. It does not need to be in with this. Again, this does not need to be in with this. I'll put this in with the mask supplies and things like that. Though I probably won't use it for masks. All of my like feathers and little things like that go in there. Because it's nice just to have all of that all in one place. Now the question is, should I put this in there? I may not. It's a ribbon, a flower ribbon. I may just end up putting that, because I have a feeling I would look for that here rather than there. Some of the stuff is really neat. Like I had never really considered this before, but I'm happy to have it. It'll be neat for something, I'm sure. Ooh, I don't even know why. It's huge, crazy, flecked rickrack, and it's not dirty. It just came that color. I am a little bit, I don't know, rickrack and I are not on the best of terms anymore. I must not have separated out one of the estate sales that I got. Now, I'm not usually an estate sale shopper. What ended up happening with those is the first one that I got, I actually bought a sewing desk from a fellow who was selling it after his mother passed away, and when we went to go pick it up, he was just like, well, I didn't clear it out. Would you like all of the stuff in it as well? You know, just as an add-on, because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I was like, sure. So I ended up with a ton of stuff, and a ton of stuff that I've actually used and and that I'm really feel quite lucky to have. But then I have some things that I'm just like, what is this? Like, I'm pretty sure this was cut off of, I think this is just getting thrown away. But yeah, it's like I have like old, I'm saving this because I'm saving this, and I have no idea why. But yeah, but I have actually ended up with a lot of, like I have a number of vintage like fastenings and things like that that I'm really quite happy to have. And then the second estate sale that I got was a lady that we got several of our cats from. She fosters kittens, used to work with my husband, and when her mother was going into the retirement home, they were just going through and getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and she was just like, would you like all of this stuff? I have boxes and boxes of things for you and some sewing machines, and I'm like, yes, I have friends where the sewing machine will have a good home with. I will be able to make use of all of this, and I got some astounding things from that. I've got some vintage books that were just wonderful. This is wire. Bright, crazy wire. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but it does need to be in here. But anyway, there were like vintage books on things that like on crafts that aren't published anymore. There are just some incredible things. Like I got this old paint set from when she was a girl and traveling, and everything is just ruined. But in terms of props and things like that, this fabulous, amazing oil painting kit in this wooden, it's incredibly cool. And I have a number of pieces of vintage taffeta that are just to die for. I mean, they are some of the most beautiful, vibrant pieces of fabric that I think I have ever seen. And there is just enough of my favorite piece of it to make a shirt for myself. And I will probably make that at the beginning of summer or beginning of spring this coming year so that I can have that. Because I think that would be just such a treat to have. Although I have to look up care for it, because I'm not sure I'm not sure I've ever had to deal with that. So this was one of the things I got from our friend's mother in the estate sale. There's so much of it here. I don't know if there's a length. There were originally 25 meters on here, and some of it has been used, and I have this in brown as well. But for costuming, these are the lengths that you might need to do a large project. Like I could trim, a man's like jacket, period jacket, or something like that. Not that these are especially accurate, but I'm not historically accurate costuming. I'm generally fantasy costuming. So I'll put those there. So those will stay on the cards because they are just easier to handle like that. Super elastic. It's amazing how some of this stuff is just ancient, but it is it's still in good shape. Some of it is not. Like some of the elastic is very tired and very old, and some of it is just perfect. It's in perfect condition. Some things are a little bit like, this is bias tape, but it has a really, really big shine to it, like it's been waxed, and it actually feels like it's been waxed. So I have no idea what this would have originally been or why it is so shiny. Like, I don't know, maybe it was handmade and like the iron sort of melted it a little bit. I have no idea. It's a bit mystifying. When I was working at Joann's, I used to have this like they were clear, like uber clearancing one, like this big stack of laces that had just been, like, I'm not sure what was wrong with them, but they were, this sort of lace and this sort of lace and, just basically everything. And I think I only bought like $10 or $15 worth of lace, but it filled 2 full shopping bags. And I got rid of them. And I don't even remember when I got rid of them, but now I am in, because I'm making all of the doll clothes and I'm costuming again, I'm like, why did I get rid of those? Because they would have been amazing. So this is a cuff off of something, I'm sure. and I don't have a second one, but the detail on this is absolutely exquisite, and I'm looking forward to very carefully making some beautiful doll clothes out of this, and I cannot wait because this is so pretty. I might make some kind of an under things set for like my MSDs that are coming in, or I might do a Blythe skirt, or I'm not sure, but I love how delicate the bottom of this is, and I think it's gorgeous. And I don't find everything, or I didn't get everything from estate sales or bought, or some of this was thrifted. You'll find things like this quite a lot, just like little bits wound on cards, stuffed in a box. Sometimes a couple at a time. There might be another one here. Yeah, this would have been like a 5-meter piece that I got thrifting. But the scale of these is really quite lovely for doll clothes, so I'm always quite happy to find them when I do. So this is one of those things that I am so very pleased that it came with some instructions. So it's iron-on invisible mending, and it has, you know, everything, all of the instructions for it, and it seems to be in good shape. But like, I never would have guessed. Like, I could tell that it's iron-on, but it's such a weird flimsy material that I'm not sure I would have, because it's clearly not like a hemming tape or anything like that. So like, it's good to know that that is what this is for. Yeah, I may actually take this one out of the, like, I wasn't planning on unpackaging a lot of this stuff, but I actually think having it in with the general flop of items will actually let me use it. And if you have been watching, you would have seen that like screamingly orange fabric that I have. I actually bought this to hem, like to put on the inside of the hem, because I thought it was pretty, and it amused me that I found something that was going to work for it. So yeah, I will actually slide this off of here. How much is in here? Like, at 3 yards, that's pretty good. Like, I'm not too hung up on being like, oh, how much of this do I have and how much of that do I have? It's just not an important factor for me. I mean, like, clearly I need to know how much stuff there is, but it's also not. Oh, this is apparently hat elastic. Like, I don't know. Like, who knew? Who knew? I mean, I'm guessing this is for like under the chin, you know, keeping your elastic on and stuff. I don't think that's what I'm going to be using it for. But yeah, so it's like, what is it? What does it feel like? The evaluation for these is really fun, because you're like, what is it made out of? This is clearly cotton. This is clearly very stiff. It has no folds in it. There seems to be quite a lot of it here. I'm assuming this is some kind of stabilization rather than ribbon, because it is too stiff. I might put it in with my grosgrain ribbon anyway, just because I don't know, we'll see. Because it is a good stabilizer, or the grosgrain ribbon is a good stabilizer as well. See, this one, I just checked it, and it does not have a fold. Oh, it lied to me. But this one is slightly shiny, so it may actually have it's stabilization tape of some sort, I think. Oh my gosh. Day-Glow orange, like this. These are the most hilarious things. Like, when I got a package of ribbons. These I don't think we're in with them, but they are like clearly of an era that they would have been used in little girls' hair bows, and I would have killed to see what little girl, like, when they would have worn these crazy ass bright orange. Like, this orange puts the orange of, it's right here. Like, this orange looks pale and absolutely demure when I went up against this crazy Day-Glow craziness. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with this. It makes me smile every time I see it, because it's so absurd. I have quite a number of things like this that kind of float. I think this I was gonna pull the trim off of it because it's really It's really nice, but I actually have since, oh, it's really fine linen, and it hasn't been used very much. This would get very, very soft if I washed it a number of times. I'm not sure how much use this would have gotten, but I actually do have an area for vintage linens now, so that is actually going to go in with the vintage linens. As you can see, this came off of some vintage linen. The trim itself is in really good shape. I just need to sit and pick off all of this stuff so that it is separated carefully. I don't think it will be that big of a deal, but I just wanted to be able, this was like a large, well, not a table runner, but this would have been maybe the surface area of a card table. So there's quite a lot of it here that I could use for a project. But the fabric itself was in pretty poor shape, so I just kept that part of it. Not all of this is in great shape. Like you can see, this is age and just wear. This actually, it looks like it has been burned. I don't know. So that's kind of neat. Again, so the little girl hair bows, you can tell that they're a certain shape, a certain, I'm not even sure what kind of fabric this is. It's really crinkly and light, and again here, this would have been another one. And again, some of this stuff, like this, would have been pulled off of something. You can see where it's been, I can see where it's been unpicked. But it is a color that I have need of quite often, so I will hang tight to that. And I was not the only one who thrifted lace, apparently, because this is not a lace that I picked up myself, but has a thrifting tag attached to it. So, so that's good to know. I think I will put all of the cords and like this sort of raised trim together in a pile. I have some things like this yellow lace that is a little bit, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's, the scale of it is a little large. I mean, I suppose I could take it and use just the edges of it. I don't know. I'm not too worried about the what for a lot of this stuff, because it really, for the most part, doesn't matter. All right, let's see what else. This really super wide elastic, and there's not very much of it. Like, it's not like this, I don't know, like, does that look like it would have gone around someone's waist to you? I have no idea. Like, legs? The mysteries of elastic are escaping me. So that's rubbish. Mostly I just want to, like, I will probably keep all the laces together without sorting them out too much, because I don't think I need to. I may actually go through and separate out anything that is quite tiny from anything that is larger. There was rather more on that spool than I thought there was. That is okay. Put that in with the ribbons. I may keep those together. We'll pull this off of here. One of the treasures that I lucked into is someone had done a sample. Let me get this out of here. So this is the Clooney type lace that, like, this would have been machine done. It's bobbin style lace. And I, like, these are other bobbin style laces, which is really exciting, except this here is actual handmade bobbin lace. This would have been laces that she would have done as like samples, which I find to be absolutely awesome to see these kinds of samples. Like, these are enough to be able to recreate, like, if you just pay attention to them, and there are so many of them here, and you know, just the time and patience that it would have taken to do this kind of sampling is really, really exciting. Like, they've been like carefully put together, or like carefully stopped and started with tape, and like I'm not sure I will ever do anything. I may actually mount these and hang them just as a display piece, because these are so cool. And like I've done some bobbin lace before, and it's the results are astounding. And just the fact that I have so many of these fabulous little samples here, I think, I don't know, they make me really, really happy. I think I will take a break and get everything sort of corralled properly and show you sort of the results and sort of the breakdown of everything. And ta-da! That is everything all sorted. So it didn't take me too long to bag everything up. What I ended up, or how I ended up sorting everything was, this is everything very textured, trims, ribbon, like this is like a really weird wire cording, but this is just really bulky stuff that I don't get into often that catches really badly on other things. This is ribbons, this is sort of textured trims, and things like ribbon that I didn't feel would go in with this ribbon particularly well. This is all of my elastic. You know, I thought I had elastic. I was right. There's quite a bit of elastic in exactly the sizes that I need. I have some more elastic tucked away in various places, but I actually need to use some of this elastic, so it will actually still fit in this. These two are this is mostly bias tape and iron-on tape, and then this is mostly twill tape, although it has a couple of other things. The reason why I didn't put them in a bigger bag is because I did want to keep these on the cards, and I will get into them for different reasons, so splitting them out made more sense than putting them all together, even though they're both, you know, tapes and things like that. I have Velcro here. I have more Velcro kicking around as well, but now I at least have a home for it here. This is all of my laces. Now you remember how big and crazy and just overwhelmingly huge that pile of laces was. Most of it was actually these two, let me pull them into the screen. Most of them were actually these two here. These were both ruffled laces. I kept this one on the ruffle because I thought I might use it ruffled, but I actually pulled this one off of the ruffle, and there's got to be like 20 yards of each of these. I must have, this must have been some of the stuff left over from that enormous bag of laces that I had got for, you know, a penny a yard or however much when I bought them. But this one, like all flat, like is just this little tiny brick of lace here, and then everything else rolled up really nicely. And like when I open these and sort through them, they will be quite easy to sort through when I actually go to use them. And I like using the plastic bags like this because when I think of things, I think of them in like in relation to one another, sort of as a collection. And so being able to pick up a bag and dump it out or paw through it and go, right, I have like, you know, this, you know, 1/8 of an inch ribbon in these several colors, you know, I can see that. Or I can be like, oh wow, look at all of these warm colors together. I will use those together. And a lot of times it saves me from having to paw through something else without having the bulk of everything being on cards. And like you can see, like you can instantly see where like my colored laces are inside of this, and I flip it over, you can see more of the color in here. And then these ones I actually decided not to put in with my trims. I'm leaving them on the cards like this, and then I'm going to file them in with my fabric because they will fit in my costuming fabric bin, and there's such an enormous amount of them that it's actually impractical to store it with the rest of this stuff. I do plan on getting some more like storage drawers for in here, and all of this stuff along with a bag of zippers that I need to get together, and probably like there's going to be a whole drawer for my sewing notions because it's currently sitting in a plastic bin at the moment that's just impractical to get into. But so all of this plus a few extras will actually fit in the in one drawer, which will be quite handy. And I like being able to reuse these as well. Now, what didn't make the cut, this is all of the trash that I ended up pulling out. So it's rolls, it's bits the laces were on. I mean, some of these are really quite cool. This is really neat. I could probably save this and use this for something else if I wanted to. This was something, some of the elastic was on. But yeah, I mean, like, these are the only two pieces of like lace, or not, this is that weird rickrack, and then this is it's like hem tape for, I don't know, like I've seen this used for different things. I think it was actually for curtains or something like that. It's not relevant to what I'm doing, and I don't think I'll use it because it's structured in a very strange way. And then there's a couple of bits and bobs that are going in with like my vintage lace and my hat making that didn't really belong in trims anyway. And yeah, that is everything. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.